Our dear mundane astrologers and social commentators must be commended for their valiant efforts to uncover the folly and corruption that run rampant in this world. In their earnest endeavors, they picture a world run by presidents and dictators. The more progressive amongst them even include corporations, oligarchs, and technocrats in their model of society. They construct elaborate theories about the forces at play, hoping to open our eyes and make us a tad wiser. How convenient that astrology provides houses for all of these visible actors. House 10 for the presidents and dictators, House 4 for their opposition, House 7 for the corporations and billionaires, and others. They're the visible performers on the stage of this exciting drama. Yet any honest and thorough study of history will reveal the presence of an invisible but palpable power working solely for its own benefit, at the expense of society as a whole. Those who wield that power interact with us without our awareness. Why don't mundane astrologers include these shadow players in their interpretations and comments? It's simple, they're hidden. House 12 is the house of obscurity and ignorance. If the mundane astrologer won't go searching for them, they won't see them. Ignoring them can sure make an astrological interpretation more palatable. After all, ignorance is bliss. It is quite enough for most people to deal with the hardships of daily life. Adding hidden enemies to the picture would be an unwelcome annoyance. But we're astrologers. We're meant to be informed and to inform, right? If not, then one might as well do the event chart for the inauguration of Disneyland and see how Mickey Mouse will do as president. In Disneyland, there don't seem to be any hidden enemies. A perfect magical world where elections, free will, hope, and trust in some president that swears to be on our side save the day every time. If Mickey fails, we are sure Goofy will do better. Maybe Pluto. House 12 is the house of the deep state. A small but powerful and power-hungry group of humans that is antagonistic to the rest of humanity. Some of them are recognizable public figures, some are not. Some of them perform roles in governments, corporations, religions, and educational institutions. Some are royalty and aristocracy, and some we will never see. It is not their physical invisibility that makes them a House 12 matter. It is because they cause harm to us in a hidden manner, while we are none the wiser. They are the invisible rulers who work hand in glove with the visible rulers. So they must, by force of reality, be prominent in mundane charts for anything related to leadership changes, such as the inauguration of the 47th President of the United States. Let's look at the recent inauguration chart. House rulership gives us a concrete meaning to the planets on the stage, matching real life to the chart. Mars rules the 7th, the corporations, billionaires, the policy-making non-governmental institutions, the private contractors that do the work for the deep state and for the government. Jupiter rules the deep state, that is, our hidden enemies. It also rules the money from the corporations and the billionaires, the 2nd from the 7th. Which is what funds the whole theater. Mars also rules the incepted sign in the 12th, showing that the deep state is built largely on House 7's existence. Mercury is the US economy, as it rules House 2. Saturn rules all branches of the US government, House 10 and House 11. There's nothing abstract here. Natural rulership alone cannot give us a complete view of the situation. The USA is not run by a president. It's run by a dynamic interaction between the visible characters and the deep state, and by the deep state's rules. If the president tries to change those rules and rock their boat, they're likely to be invited to step out of the boat. Think Kennedy, think Reagan, think Trump in July 2024. Don't take my word for it. Here are the charts for the 12 most recent inaugurations in the United States. I am not going to interpret these charts. My comments are only to point out the prominence of House 12 in them, and thus emphasize the need to interpret them in any thorough, mundane astrological analysis. Before we look into each individual chart, I want to mention that since this is a chart for the same time, same day, and same location every year, or every 4 years in this case, The angles, most of the cusps, and the sun's position will not change significantly. So, except in rare occasions, the significators will always be the same in terms of house rulership. All charts will look very similar, with minor variations in the degrees and minutes of each cusp. You will see in these charts that the deep state will be connected either to house 10, or to the ascendant, or to house 7, or to their rulers. Or it will be connected to house 2, or its ruler, which is very important for these people. That is, our money and resources. In the United States, these are the main significators. Other countries or historical periods may have other variations. For example, in periods and places where the church has a strong influence in society in terms of governance, guidelines, and even the economy, then we would see house 9 becoming of importance in these charts. 2025, Donald Trump. Jupiter, the ruler of the deep state, is at 18 degrees and 22 minutes of Cancer by Antician. It is in a perfect opposition with Mercury, the ruler of house 2, which happens to be the place where Jupiter is. We also have the nodes establishing the importance of these cusps, most importantly the 12th. We also have Neptune on the 12th cusp. This configuration tells us that there is something hidden about this house. There is something in operation here that's being emphasized that we do not see. This kind of corroborates my horary chart that you can see on this channel. The second significator of house 12, which doubles as the significator of house 7, is in a perfect opposition with the 10th cusp. So we have a picture of the presence of the deep state in this presidency. I am not judging how or what will play out. I'm just establishing that they are present and prominent, and they will be in all charts we're going to look at. 2021, Joe Biden. The ruler of house 12 is conjunct with the ruler of house 10 and the sun. 2017, Donald Trump. This chart deserves a special mention because our hidden enemies came out of the closet in this period. I could spend an hour taking this chart apart. It is comparable in complexity and content to the 9/11 event chart, and the event itself is comparable in its impact on society. This is the COVID-19 outbreak period. Jupiter, the ruler of house 12, is in a tight sextile with the ruler of house 10, Saturn. Mercury, the ruler of house 6, that is, our dear bioengineered Frankenvirus 19, is conjunct Saturn by Antician. So we have the deep state, the government, and the pandemic together. There's more. Mars, the second ruler of house 12 and house 7, is in a tight sextile with the 10th cusp, and in a tight square with Saturn. Here we have the corporations and billionaires profiteering from the pandemic. Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson's, Meta, Amazon, you name it. I could talk about the moon here, but I'll leave it for a future opportunity. Not many people are ready to look at this moon for what it means. Those who are interested can check out my webinars, where I elaborate on that. All I'll say here is that its house rulership is crucial for a complete delineation of what happened in this period. Its position on the 7th cusp, lending their hand to the corporations, will be the plot of a horror movie one day. Jupiter is on the most fortunate and protective star, Spica. How nice for them. We have all of the players following the script to the letter, including us, Venus, being under the rulership of Jupiter and ready to meet Mercury via a collection of light from Saturn. 2013, Barack Obama. The ruler of house 12, Jupiter, is near this cusp by Antician, in opposition to this cusp. The ruler of house 10 is conjunct Mars by Antician. 2009, Barack Obama. Jupiter, the ruler of house 12, is conjunct the Sun and Mercury in house 10. Having the ruler of house 12 in house 10 is a testimony on its own. Being conjunct with the Sun adds insult to injury. 2005, George W. Bush. Mars, the second ruler of house 12 and house 7, is conjunct with the ruler of the ascendant, Venus, by Antician. The ruler of house 12, Jupiter, is in a tight sextile with Mars. 2001, George W. Bush. The ruler of House 12 is in a tight trine with the Sun. 1997, Bill Clinton. The ruler of House 12 is in House 10, conjunct Neptune, right on the cusp. And the ruler of House 10 is in House 12. How sweet. What a perfect love story. The nodes also emphasize the presence of House 12 in this particular presidency. 1993, Bill Clinton. The ruler of the ascendant and the ruler of House 12 are conjunct by Antician. 1989, George H.W. Bush. Mars, the second ruler of House 12, is in a tight square with the Sun, and the ruler of House 12, Jupiter, is in a trine with the 10th cusp. 1985, Ronald Reagan. The ruler of House 12 is inside the 10th cusp in a tight sextile with the ruler of House 10. The ruler of the ascendant is conjunct with the second ruler of House 12 and the ruler of House 7. 1981, Ronald Reagan. The ruler of House 12 and the ruler of House 10 are conjunct. The curious scholar Mundane Astrologer may want to continue this trace back to learn where in time the deep state became the de facto ruler of the United States and the rest of the world. For those interested in mundane horary astrology, check out the other videos on this channel and the links to my website in the description below. Thank you for stopping by. See you next time.